I got a guy. Sure looks guilty.
They let O.J. go. They let Michael Jackson go. They are not going to let him go.
What do they hate about me? I'm alive.
Why do certain stories become the story of the century and certain stories don't? Because they have mythological elements in it. They have the fall from grace. Al Pacino, both in his performance and I hope in my script, is not a one-dimensional portrayal of a fellow who's either good or bad, but he's both things.
This is my opportunity to talk with you about what we expect the evidence to show.
When he's first accused of this crime, this heinous crime, it's all new to him in terms of the reaction to it.
I play Linda Kenny Baden, who was Phil Spector's defense lawyer in his first trial.
And she's going to take this case on, and she doesn't want to, and she's completely convinced he's guilty. And then it starts turning around.
As she begins to understand the details, the facts of the case, that is when she begins to construct her case of defense.
You start to see the various aspects and you start to weigh them against each other and formulate an opinion.
Is he guilty?
The facts do not support a conviction. I think whenever you have as extreme a personality as Phil Spector was, with the kind of history that he had, he is already vilified. He's made into a monster before any trial begins.
Hey, Phil! That's blood! A corpse's blood! You fucking murderer!
He doesn't fit in anything. Again, he has always been sort of eccentric and different. That's where his talent is, too. It's why he was able to do what he did. And how that turns around on him and starts to formulate in people's minds an opinion of this guy.
It doesn't mean he was innocent. It doesn't mean he was guilty. All it means is that this is the attitude of everyone going into the case.
Why don't they get a carpenter in there, build me a coffin, have the judge nail me in it?
That's part of a larger story of a guy who always felt inferior. So whatever he accomplished, it was insufficient until finally the Furies catch up with him, so that the story perhaps aspires to be something like a tragedy rather than a drama.
This is a rehearsal.
I know it's a rehearsal! I've played this game 1,000,000 times before! I know how the game is played!
Visita mi
When
canal.
David Mamet writes something, there's something interesting about the things that happen. It has this kind of verbal stamp on it.
They're really written in his specific style, which is very naturalistic.
He has a very interesting way of expressing himself, Phil Spector, in real life. But I thought, hell, I can write crazier than he can talk. So I gave myself a license to write these kind of fun monologues.
I have a question, Linda. Jesus was so big. Why'd they kill him?
Because he was the Son of God.
No. Because he was still the Son of God. Still is not news. What is news then? That he likes little boys, that he's a thief, that he cheats on his wife. Or, in the absence of any fault, that he's just too goddamn big for his fucking britches.
The whole movie's about the relationship between Linda and Phil. One of the PAs said to me the other day when Phil gives Linda a big hug, and the PA said, "My gosh, it's a love story." And in a certain way it is. It's Beauty and the Beast.
It's very interesting. You get two people who are seemingly don't go together at all, and how they find that connection and how that evolves.
I met a lot of crazy people in my life. I met very few sane ones that I could talk to.
Any biography is basically fiction. Any documentary is fiction because one chooses facts and structures them in a way that the audience can draw an inference. It's an attempt to look at a mythological story rather than a news story.
It's such an interesting idea on David Mamet's part because it exposes things in a way that makes it much more real, but it just leaves it open.